It is day 5 of me decluttering every single day until I feel less overwhelmed. So let me show you what we are starting with today. This is the master bedroom. It is a fairly small bedroom, as you can see by the lack of space around the side of the bed. So we have a lot of storage under our bed, which is great. But it's also a bit of an issue in that you have the storage, then you use it, and it is quite full. So I'm starting out. I've set a timer for 20 minutes to tackle my bedside cabinet. And this whole decluttering episode started off with me losing my watch. So it was a 40th birthday present from my husband. It is like one of the nicest things that I own. Maybe like after my engagement ring, and I absolutely love it, but I lost it a week ago. It's been missing for a week now. I know that I was wearing it Saturday last weekend. I do not remember taking it off when I got back home, but then why would I? Because it wasn't, there wasn't anything special about that. But I know I was wearing it on Saturday, and I got in quite late with my kiddos. I needed to change out of very muddy clothing. So I assume that I would have taken it off then, but it's annoying that I don't remember it. So as you can see here, I've stumbled upon my advent calendar that my husband got me, and I thought might as well just open that while I'm there. My plan of action for today is basically go through my whole bedside table, but then move it out of the room, move my husband's out of the room, and just check that our 2-year-old hasn't, because she's a bit of a magpie, just check that she hasn't got hold of my watch and dropped it in his bedside table. But I'm not decluttering anything of his today. And in general, I'm not decluttering anything of my husband's unless he, explicitly tells me in advance that he wants to get rid of something. My husband is very sentimental. He definitely has, a lot of stuff that he struggles to part with. And when I have decluttered in the past, I haven't done any decluttering for a couple of years now, but when I've decluttered anything in the past, I used to try to get him to also get on board, kind of join me in decluttering things. And if he wasn't ready to do that, I found that he would actively push against it. And I think I would if someone was trying to persuade me to declutter things. So my plan very much since then has been just concentrate on my own stuff and then joint family things, the kids things. And I found in the past that when I've done that, my husband has started to see the benefit of the house feeling a bit tidier and easier to manage, and he has gradually tackled some of his own things. So that is exactly what I am going to be doing this time around. It is not my responsibility to declutter anything of his, and I found that just concentrating on my own stuff and the family stuff, the kids stuff, makes so much difference. So I'm just emptying out the kind of bigger drawer that I have. I think call it a drawer, it's a tub within a crate, let's face it. And I've got in here a mishmash of things. I've got sentimental things, got some photographs, I've got cards, I've got notepads. I think I've got a packet of mothballs there on the top of that box. And I've got tech in there, passports for the family. So there's a lot of stuff that will be staying there. But what I've got here, I'm just arranging some piles. So I've got a pile of stuff to get rid of. I've got some things that I can either need to be somewhere else in the house, like that bag that I've just put there, that needs to be downstairs. I would absolutely not look in this tub for a reusable bag. I have a bag of reusable bags downstairs. The notepad, which is unused, that can go in my kids' drawer. They love writing and practicing their handwriting. They're 6, 4, and 2. So the 2-year-old, not so much, but the 6-year-old and 4-year-old, they will love that. I've also got some sentimental things that will go in my memory box, which is up in the loft. We all have a memory box, so my kids as well. And that's where we put any cards we want to keep, etc. And I do want to go through those as well, but I'm concentrating on the main areas of the house that we're kind of living in day to day, and then I'm going to tackle the loft. And also have some recycling there, and I basically want to kind of keep to these piles. Now, in hindsight, I should have bought up some bin bags, and I usually would, but I don't know why I didn't. I think time-wise as well, because this is a Sunday when I am doing this declutter, and I have limited pockets of time in between doing things with the kids, and I just needed to get started. And then once I'm upstairs and I'm decluttering, I don't want to go back downstairs because, especially my 2-year-old, if she sees me again, she will not release me from her grip. So I brought all like the drinks I needed up with me, everything I felt like I needed, and anything I was missing just had to go without. So that included bin bags. And finally, I'm getting to the end of this basically just as the timer runs out, which I find a timer is so helpful. Firstly, I find that decluttering tasks, especially one like this today, can be a bit daunting. This is the biggest declutter that I have done in this past week because I have a little bit of a longer window within which to do it. But also, I never have masses of time. I'm never going to have a full day where I can dedicate to decluttering. It would be amazing if I could take like a couple of weeks off work and really like get to grips with the house. Like that would be amazing. But it is not going to happen. So I have to work with the small pockets of time that I do. So if I have a timer, like visually, I know like I've got to get this done within this set period of time. It gives me a shove to like get going. And if I'm finding a task daunting, it just breaks it down with me a bit. So, I'm broken it down to, right, bedside table, 20 minutes. And when that timer ran out, like it just makes sense. Obviously, I'm going to put things back in, and then I'm moving that into my kids' room to keep it out of the way. I'm moving on to my husband's bedside table. And as I said, for this one, I'm literally just moving things into my kids' room. But because I am specifically looking for my watch, I want to go through. So I'm just looking in his basket, just moving things basically so I can see what is in there. But obviously it's his stuff, it's his personal stuff. So I have to be mindful of that. He knows I am doing this and I'm not going to be opening anything. So my 2-year-old, I don't think she would like open other boxes and put a watch in there. I think if she was going to move it, she'd just kind of lob it in the top. So I'm just moving things around and seeing what's there. I did point out to my husband though afterwards that he had an unusually large amount of glasses cases, given that he only wears one pair of glasses and one pair of sunglasses. But again, gently pointed that out that he might want to take a look through them. But it is, it is his stuff at the end of the day. So moving on to the underbed storage. I always think that storage like this is both a blessing and a curse because it's awesome to have it, but then when you do have it, the tendency is to just like overstuff it, put everything in there because, why not keep something just in case because you have somewhere to store it. Now, I'd love to get it to a position where I have a bit of space here, somewhere to put things if I need to. So we roughly have this space split so that I have the left half and my husband has the right hand side. And in the middle, we have like wrapping paper and things like that. So I am basically, for his stuff, I'm just going to lift it out. I know that I want to give this a bit of a hoover. And for the purpose of this like decluttering series, I am not aiming to deep clean anywhere, but there are certain areas that you don't often get empty. So since getting this bed 4 years ago, we have never emptied out the underbed storage. We have just simply added to it. So it has become like there are a few gaps on the sides where air can circulate and therefore dust particles and grit has got in. And I have got some clothes under here, I've got bags under here, and I want to like also take advantage of having it empty and tidy it out. So I do have a bunch of clothing under the bed, and apart from tights, which I have taken out to start wearing again, then the rest of it I'm not wearing at the moment for one reason or another, and I don't need to have it under the bed. So I have got some like other clothing and like seasonal clothing that I'm not wearing at the moment in a bag up in our loft. So my intention is at some point to get those down and I will put the clothing away. But for now, I'm going to be putting it back into the bed storage just to keep it out of the way. So I did have a sort through just to see if there is anything like obvious that I wouldn't want to keep. And otherwise, I've got a couple of memory boxes. I'm not going to be going through absolutely every single box because I just don't have the time. But there are a couple I know I want to sort through, like this one, where I have basically got some like jiffy bags for postage bags. I've got envelopes. I have got um, like present bags in there as well, bottle bags, and also randomly a few books and hobby stuff, got some painting supplies. I'm very crafty. I love doing arts and crafts, but I don't get a lot of time to do it. So I have them here, and basically, I can't tell you the last time I painted anything. I probably should get rid of them, but there's something about like acknowledging that there is something hobby-wise that you really want to do, but you are unable to do it. That just gets me in the gut. So for now, I am keeping them. And I think that really this is going to be a process of me going through stuff, getting rid of like obvious, immediate, easy stuff, and then acknowledging that I'm going to need to have another sweep through. And I just need a bit of time to wrap my head around a few things. I really wish that I could be like brutal and just halve this stuff. That would be amazing. But I don't feel like I am quite there with being absolutely brutal. And I think it's just time. If I had a bit more time, if I could double the amount of time that I have for this particular declutter, then perhaps I could actually like sit with things for a little bit and think really hard about what I could get rid of. Because even now, when I'm looking at the footage back to do the voiceover, there are like a couple of bags, a yellow bag, for example, that I saw, and I put it back in to keep it. And I don't think I've ever used it, or maybe I've used it once, and it was gifted to me by my mother-in-law, and I love it, but it's just not something that I use very often. I also have been gifted another evening bag by my sister-in-law, and I use that more regularly. So because I have something else that I favour, I'm just not going to be picking the yellow bag out. So I really should just gift it on. Now, just as I have reached my limit for the amount of stuff I have in my house, my phone also reached its limit for storage. So I didn't realise, but my phone had reached its limit and it stopped recording. So we have skipped forward. So imagine that you have seen me take out all of my husband's stuff, hoover the inside of the bed, and now I'm just showing you what I achieved in that time. So I've gone through everything, all the gift bags, etc. I have my kind of weekend bags here. I have a couple of shawls and scarves. And then we have like my occasional use bags. And we've got like wedding stuff, fascinators, a couple of nicer hats, and some clothes here. Apart from the jumper, which is on top, all of these other clothes are going to go into the loft. Shoes will stay here. And I have moved the wrapping paper to the front of the underbed storage. This was something that really bugged me because you had to move stuff out in order to get to the wrapping paper, which is actually something we use quite often. My husband has an amazing amount. I don't think you can really tell here. He's got a lot of like memory boxes. He's got a lot of sentimental items, but also a lot of VHS videos, and he's got DVDs. We don't have a VHS player or a DVD player. But he's quite attached to those. So here is the pile of stuff which I am getting rid of. Now, full disclosure, these gloves that you can see here, I actually did put back under the bed. But apart from that, everything else is going. So we've got jumpers and things, a few things here which I'm gifting on and sending to the charity shop. But largely it is rubbish. Recycling, some boxes, some bags that I will gift on. But while I am really pleased with how much that I managed to get rid of in this process, I feel like I could have done a lot more here. Now, really, I'm just dealing with one half of this underbed storage. So in that respect, it's pretty good. But even now, when I'm looking back at the footage, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there's definitely some more things that I could get rid of from the stuff that I have under there. Now, one thing that really hit me during this process of decluttering was how dusty the wall was. I don't think I've ever really noticed this anywhere else in my house, but this blue wall was really dusty, and it was really obvious when you were relatively close to it. And I thought, well, how often am I going to have the bedside tables removed? I will just have a quick like wash over the walls just with water and a cloth, a microfiber cloth. Now, I don't think I've ever really like I've definitely cleaned marks off the walls. I've got small children; they're always marking the walls, but I don't think I've ever really washed my walls. And I wonder actually if the white walls are just as dusty but aren't as obvious because of the colour. But I'd be really interested to hear from you. Do you ever wash any of your walls? And if so, how often? Like, is this a weird thing that the walls are getting dusty? I wasn't sure if it was the kind of paint or whatever, but I'm telling you, washing them down made such a difference. They looked so much better. And now I'm just putting the bedside tables back. I'd also hoovered before I did this and hoovered all of the skirting boards as well because they were super, super dusty. So it was really nice to have the opportunity to do that. Like I said, this is not a deep clean, but while you have the opportunity to get to somewhere that you don't normally have access to, definitely would take advantage of that. So my husband had a couple of pictures which have been beside his bedside table for absolutely ages, gathering dust. He really likes them and wants to put them up, but it's just been such a struggle to get little jobs like that done with the kids. Like, it's not an urgent thing. And yes, I have dusted this picture using my shirt, but I've already spilt something on it today and it is going in the wash imminently after this. And like I said, I couldn't go back downstairs for a duster because I wouldn't be left alone by my 2-year-old. So I decided to put one of the pictures of my husband's up on his bedside table. I think that looks really good. And then I'm just cleaning the top of mine because I have some spillage on there. A cup of tea was dropped over the bed, and which is why our bed doesn't have the mattress cover on it, because a cup of tea was spilt this morning, so we had to strip it all. But it saved me a job because I was going to do that anyway. So I'm getting that mattress protector back on, and oh my God, this was such a pig to do that I've cut a load of this footage because you don't want to see me grappling with a zip. But basically, it ended up getting trapped at the headboard end where I'd had the bed up. Then the other side of the mattress cover had got all caught up. So this was me basically like trying to get the bed back together. And actually, making the bed is not something that I do that often. I don't change the bed sheets that often. It is one of my husband's jobs. So we have things that we like generally tend to do. Do you do this with your partner? We have like our default jobs, and changing the bed sheets is one of his. But so much so that when he saw me doing this, it's like he couldn't stop himself and just let me get on with it. He started coming in and tinkering, changed the bed sheet as well, like as in like he moved it around and was like, "Oh, you haven't quite got that on right." So I should have just left him to it really, but insisted that I was fully capable of making the bed. He clearly didn't think so, bless him. But it was really nice to have help putting it back together. So it does feel like a bit more teamwork and a little brief moment of calm while the kids were watching a Christmas movie downstairs. But I thought it was really funny that having put the bed back, and then he didn't realise actually that I was still filming. So he's no idea that he's being captured. He'll be fine with it, by the way. But then after I have then left the room to go and get something else, I realise here that he starts moving things around on his bedside table. Clearly, I did not put everything back quite in the right order, which did make me chuckle. So just a reminder here, this is what we started the process with earlier in the day. This is the underbed storage, and you can see the bedside tables there and the stuff that is surrounding them because we both had stuff either side of our bedside tables. And apart from the advent calendar, which to be honest, I'm just hiding there so my kids don't eat the chocolate, then the bedside tables are looking a lot better. Now, remember, I haven't actually decluttered anything from my husband's. That is not for me to do. That is for him if he wants to do that at a later date. And then for the underbed storage, again, on the right-hand side, I have not decluttered anything, apart from a hot water bottle of my husband's, which he said in advance he could get rid of. I have dusted everything of his and just put it back in. And then it's just my stuff. And I feel like there is more I could do. The clothing will go in the loft soon. But I am looking forward to, I think, sweep number 2 of all of this. But so far, I think it looks a lot tidier and cleaner, and I am happy. I will see you in the next one. Bye.